AI, the technology that is set to change the course of human history. And some say it's going to displace jobs and displace life. Why don't we find out if this is true? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Prefer Mind podcast. This is your host again, Samuel. And here with me tonight is Ganesh Krishnan. He is the founder of AIHello and one of the top Amazon partners for businesses. Hi, Krishnan. How are you doing today?
Good, Samuel. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Could you share us a little bit about yourself and how you're excited to tell us everything about AI tonight?
Sure. I worked with IBM a long time ago,
Mm.
and there were algorithms back then. And then I moved to eBay. eBay, we had to use a bit of an algorithm for understanding the logs. And from there, I worked in Australia for Telstra, where they used a lot of big data analytics and Spark and machine learning technologies, again to analyze the yellow pages. From there, my interest peaked, and then I moved into AI. I launched my own e-commerce store, and then I used AI to scale it up. And at one point, I was like, okay, why don't I just release the technology to outside,
Mhm.
and then move and then create my own stuff. And then I released AIHello. And then from there, we worked on reducing the hallucination because it's numbers, improving the accuracy, working with LLM, working with real, neural networks. And here we are, a few years later.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, the fact that you have had all of those background experience kind of gives you the framework and the, background memory to be able to start something like this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So a lot of this, like is the people that I worked with, the projects that I worked, my
Mm.
interest, they all intersected to reach where I am today.
Nice, nice. That's amazing. Life kind of falls into place.
Yes, yeah, for sure. As long as you keep your eyes open and you are, open to the experiences, yes, it'll take you in the right direction.
That's awesome. So I know I'd reach out to you via email the other time on, the direction of the conversation today. And the first question that I have for you today from my note here is, what do you see about the current state of AI and what do you think it truly is? As I had made the intro into the episode, I talked about how people are believing, a lot of experts are believing that AI is going to change the course of human history. And some are
Yeah.
even saying that AI is going to replace jobs and displace a lot of people. And I've even heard the conversation on universal basic income at some point if it gets really crazy. What is the true gist behind all that?
It's very hard to say, like I don't think there's any person on this planet who can, talk about what is going to happen. And I
Mhm.
always bring this anecdote of a cow standing in the middle of the road
Right.
cannot guess why humans are, crossing the road at a crossroad. To it, we are beyond his thinking, and we cannot think of, what a super intelligence is going to do. So
Mm-hmm.
it's impossible for us to predict, right? I mean, if we could predict the actions of someone more intelligent than us, then we would ourselves be more, intelligent. Um, the fact that we can't predict it is means we're not that smart. So bringing back to this UBI is a favorite topic I like to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but before that, I would like to go into what is the current state of AI, like where does it fall into? Is it going to replace jobs? The answer is, it falls a lot between, 0 to 100. What kind of industry it is, where it is. We have also seen, within our company, how
Mm-hmm.
AI is like radically changing everything. The last few months has been tremendous, change in our company. And we've been here for, couple of years actually. And with
Mm-hmm.
the AI, like we could afford to not have really senior programmers. We could hire a mid-level junior programmers. Um, People usually say it'll keep the seniors in business and get rid of the juniors. But for
Mm-hmm.
us, as long as you are interested in AI and you are
Mm-hmm.
good with AI, you are more proficient, you're more flexible than a senior person. And we can, churn out, features and code much faster than what a senior person would do. So there is definitely a radical change in the jobs that is happening. There's definitely a radical change in the human mentality. Knowledge has become commoditized. There is almost free knowledge everywhere. Of course, we
Right.
had with Google as well, but we have to spend time looking through it.
Hmm.
And now it's at your fingertips. Like you could ask it question and you could get the answer. A lot of the time ago, it was research. We're still not there at super intelligence, but I believe with the change in algorithm, not with transformers, not with the current LLM, but with some kind of new technology, we should be able to achieve at least some kind of a human level intelligence, pretty soon.
Hmm. Now you said human level intelligence. So does that mean that the current AI is not even as smart as a human yet?
No, I don't think so. It's pretty smart.
Mhm.
Let me ask the question, like uh, do you ever question your parents? Do you ever question, like what you were taught, your teachers? Do you do
Mhm.
that? Right.
Sometimes if I don't understand, I want to understand the origin of it. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, sometimes they
Yeah.
prove me wrong.
Yeah, for sure. But if all your life you've been taught that the sun is, red,
Hmm.
and you woke up today and you saw that the sun is not red, you would of course question your parents. It's like you
Right,
you you lied to me, right?
right.
But if an LLM has been trained on his entire corpus that the sun is, red,
Hmm.
will it ever question his training data? It will never.
No, it can't.
Yeah, it just can't. So it just takes the data. So what it has done is democratize the knowledge. And we see this with a lot of the code as well. We ask it for some algorithms.
Hmm.
Someone somewhere has implemented that algorithm. It brings that in and then it drops it into our code. But it's very, like debatable to say, is it really intelligence? Is it really, conscious? I mean, Richard Dawkins got into a lot of, heat for that. And of course, a machine is not conscious. And I don't think it's even intelligent. It's just, bringing the right piece of information to
Right.
us. Is Google intelligent? You ask it a question, how to boil potato, it gives you the top results. Do you think it is intelligence? Like
Hmm.
you can have a huge debate, but for me, the answer has always been no. If it cannot revolt against the training data, if it cannot learn on its own from observing the universe, interacting with it, then it's not uh, it's not intelligent.
I think I see where you're coming from. And that's a very solid point because I use AI myself sometimes. And I have tried to use AI for a lot of tasks and I try to question it on so much things. And then I realized that it's not like it's actually fabricating this information like anew. It's always a combination of existing resources. It
Yeah,
just have the ability to intertwine them in such a way that it looks quite creative. But at the end of the day, it's still using what it has been fed. If you go
yeah,
on Google too, sometimes if you ask Google Gemini certain questions, and then you realize that it pulls all this information from a lot of websites and kind of give you a synopsis of what they are in to answer your question. And when we look back to Google,
yeah,
initially Google, you would have to kind of, like you said, do the research, go through those answers and kind of filter through them by yourself, which is a very
yeah,
long process. But the AI now, you can literally just tell it, all right, I need this, and it's going to scan through all the available information and give you exactly what you want. But
yeah,
you're right, it's not yet at the point whereby it can generate ideas on its own, which at that point, obviously, humans have the ability to generate ideas on their own. They can
yeah.
think outside the box beyond of what is currently in existence. But this guy cannot think beyond what it has been fed. So that does make a lot of sense, and I do agree with that.
For sure. And the other point is the LLMs are always the average of the results that it gets.
Mm,
So if there's 100 people mentioning, X equal to 1,
right.
but if there's one guy that is smart enough that says, X equal to 2,
Hmm.
then you should place more importance on X equal to 2. But LLM will always look at X equal to 1 has been, said 100 times, so X equal to 1.
Is the
And
right
with
answer.
humans, we usually have a contrarian approach.
Mhm.
We don't agree with the mainstream media. A
Right.
lot of the times we look at the mainstream media and we debate it. I don't think that's true. I think there's some ulterior motive to it. We question the motive behind it. We question what we see.
Mhm.
We question if that is the truth, right? With an LLM, you can lie and it takes everything at a face value, and then it never questions, with the data that you feed it.
That makes a lot of sense. And you said something about it actually creating opportunity for junior programmers.
Yeah.
That kind of conflicts my what I've been hearing and the way I see it. Could you go more how it's not going to replace the junior and only give the senior programmers more opportunity? I kind of feel like it's going to replace the junior and give the senior, because if AI can do what the junior level can do, then you
Yeah.
probably need the senior to do a more sophisticated job.
I would, be different to this
Mm,
primarily because AI is very, very, very efficient with doing sharp algorithmic changes,
right.
right? You can ask it to make an algorithm, it will do the algorithm. Fixing the glue around it,
Mm,
right? I mean, we have always along, computer history, we made progress on it. We used to use assembly, then
mhm.
we made C, then we made C++. And I was
Right.
very excited when I was young with Visual Basic 4. You could just drag, drop, and you could create it. So we took steps along it. And with AI, of course, is one of the biggest step, like it
Right.
creates an algorithm perfectly for what you want. You just have to put the glue around it. Putting the glue around it does not require a lot of intelligence, right? It requires a bit of a thought,
Right.
but any person can do it. So I don't like to think in terms of if a junior person is going to get replaced or a senior person is going to replace. My point is anyone that is not using AI is going to get replaced.
I see.
And if two people are using AI and the output is exactly the same, I would hire the person that is the cheaper.
I
That
see.
inevitably turns out to be junior. So it's not a matter of junior or senior.
Mhm,
It's just the person that is cheaper. So even if you think of, first world, second world, or third world, programmers, regardless of if they are senior or junior, a
mhm.
person that is cheaper and using AI is always going to come out good. And that's why in all my interviews, the first thing I ask my, candidates, open up ChatGPT, share the screen with me, cheat in front of me. Right. Show me how you cheat. The ability to cheat and the ability to use AI shows your IQ.
I think that's powerful because I just recently watched a podcast from the Diary of a CEO. And
Yeah.
then I think he had a guest on board and they were having conversation around AI. And they asked him, you're an hiring manager, you hire people to work for you. What has been the change in the trend on how you hire people? And just
Yeah.
like you said, he said anyone who knows how to use AI is basically one of his main major requirements. So if you don't know
Yeah.
how to use AI, there's a
Yeah.
highly likely chance that you will not get hired.
And that's the first requirement. I get on a call and I says,
Mm,
okay, hide your history, open up ChatGPT. As we are talking, talk to ChatGPT and talk to me. So
mm.
cheat in front of me. Show me how you use AI. The ability to express yourself is very, very important nowadays. It always was, but with AI, it becomes even more important.
That's actually true because prompting is the key word there. If you have an idea in your mind and you don't know how to
Yeah.
communicate it, the AI
That's
will
right.
only give you what you tell it. Unlike
Yeah.
humans that might be able to communicate and understand you to some extent based on nonverbal communication, but this is just a technology that cannot really see your nonverbal movement, all that kind of stuff. So it basically
Yeah.
goes a bit of what you tell it and how you articulate it. The quality
Yeah.
of your prompting is the quality of the result.
That's correct. Yeah.
That's amazing. So the next question I have is, how is AI likely to evolve in the coming years? What do you see? I know you had said that it's kind of
Yeah.
impossible to predict the future, but what do you
Yeah.
see coming up?
Well, the best way to predict the future is to create it, and
Hmm.
I still believe in that. So we have our own hat in the ring. We are creating our own models.
Hmm.
We are slightly different. We don't use the transformer technology.
Right.
Uh, we're trying to reduce the hallucination, and we are
Mhm.
working towards purely knowledge-based LLM, not something that can do logic,
Right.
but it can do a subset of ChatGPT, but it is very, very good with knowledge and getting the data and everything. So that's what we plan to release within the next couple of weeks.
Hmm.
Once we release that, then we'll see how it is. So we're working towards or setting up the infrastructure for artificial superintelligence, and we'll see how it goes. It's a shot in the dark. We're placing our bets. We are putting a lot of resources into it, and we are a startup on a very tight budget. But still,
Right.
we are bootstrapping a complete AI model. That is uh that is something that I'm very excited to look forward to.
That's amazing. Artificial general intelligence. For somebody on this podcast that doesn't understand what that means, what does it mean?
So there is something called as a artificial general intelligence that
Mhm.
can do everything that a human is doing in a general way, right? It can make
Mhm.
coffee, it can, drive your car, it can, clean, it can do the laundry and all this AGI. a lot of people are interested in AGI. Artificial superintelligence is one particular niche, and it is
Hmm.
really, really intelligent. It can, like tell you everything about it. So in a way, you could say, if ChatGPT had really human level intelligence, it would be ASI,
Mm.
but it doesn't have, human level intelligence. It cannot question his beliefs. It cannot question you, right? It always agrees with you. It always agrees with the training data. But if you reach a point where it could look, react, change, and then question his own training data, and it is as smart as what it is right now, then we would, invariably in the ASI realm.
So what you mentioned now made me remember something. I was prompting ChatGPT one day, and I was
Yeah,
kind of giving it an opinion on idea, but
yeah,
it was actually contradicting me. It was disagreeing with me.
yeah.
How is that happening?
It depends on what kind of question you ask. Of course, it will disagree, like if it thinks
Hmm.
because its training data disagrees
Right.
with what you have said. But the real question is, can it disagree with the training data?
I see.
Right. If the training data has always said, the sun is red, and you tell it,
Hmm.
the sun is yellow, it's not
Right.
true.
It's gonna
It will
disagree.
disagree.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, my next question now is the role of data, data
Yeah.
centers, and infrastructures. How, what role does all that play in the development of AI and
Is
moving
very
forward?
critical. Is very critical because creating software has been commoditized. It's pretty easy.
Hmm.
It's not perfect. There's going to be lots of issues down the lane, but it was just like Visual Basic. Like we had this Visual Basic 30 years ago. Anyone could create software by dragging and dropping. You do not even
Right.
have to type. Visual Basic came in, 30 years ago, and this was exactly like AI. You just drag your controls,
Hmm.
create clickable stuff, and there were lots of software that came through, Visual Basic, and then it kind of died down. So
Mm.
with AI as well, like software is going to more and more people are going to create software, but then you will invariably realize that software development is not just coding. Software development is understanding everything, like the requirement, building, ability to express yourself. That is software development. It's not just writing a, algorithm that can do bubble sort,
Right.
uh, which the AI is good at. But coming back to this question of how critical is data, because software is easy to write, what differentiates one person from the other person is what kind of data do you have
Hmm.
that your software can take advantage of. And people who sit on immense amount of data are going to end up as the kings.
I see. I know you had mentioned that before when we
Yeah,
first had this sprint of you call. So now, AI feeds on data, right? And
yeah,
obviously, we need a large amount of data center to gather that much amount of data that we need to
yeah,
continue. What do you see is the future of the infrastructures? I have seen a lot of complaints out there of where they say AI data centers are very energy consuming
yeah.
and they consume a lot of water, and as a result of that there might be some regulations in the future that might kind of restrict the use of all of those just because of they believe that it's going to affect the normal ability of the earth to continue to provide for people moving forward.
Right. That is one area that I never explored because there is one
Mm-hmm.
area that I haven't reached. We have our own data center. We have our own GPU.
Mm-hmm.
It's a couple of GPUs, wouldn't run hundreds of thousands of GPU like, the Anthropic and everyone.
Right.
And I would be pretty shocked, if we met people that have reached that scale. I mean, we are still, in the micro scale with a couple of GPUs, in parallel.
Mm-hmm.
We run our own, data center. There's a huge amount of electricity bill that we pay, of
Right.
course. But the data center part is not something that I've explored or I'm willing to explore right now. I would, it would confuse me because I'm not an expert on that.
Right. Right. I see. That makes sense. So now, in the sense of like individuals, how
Yeah,
do they survive in this area, in the world of AI? Because I look at people like my father and maybe my mom, people in that age,
yeah.
obviously they are growing old, but some of them in within that age range of like 50, people who have not really gotten used to technology like that, how would they survive in this kind of economy? Like, and the other younger people too, who don't
Yeah.
even understand all of this stuff. What do you think of them?
Well, we survived the Photoshop generation, that was radical as well. You could take Photoshop and you could Photoshop anyone's face on anyone, and that was a
Right.
big thing. But with this, like it's very hard to create, it's very easy to create deep fake, voice memo and, clone your voice and do
Hmm.
everything. So of course, fraud is going to increase, that increases a lot of the fraud. Um, but beyond that, I just look at the positive side of it.
Hmm.
Uh, what was once hidden away for very select people,
Hmm.
information
Hmm.
is now out in the open. You don't even have to, use OpenAI or the free edition of it. You could just download the Chinese model, DeepSeek.
Right.
They are really on the sense actually. We use DeepSeek a lot. We use Kimi, we use QuenMax, and it's very, very cheap. I've been running, um, queries on it,
Mhm.
and I still haven't reached 10 cents or 20 cents for all of the queries. I mean, we don't run a lot of queries, but running the queries on the email, and then checking the contacts, it's just really as cheap as water,
Mm.
really cheap. So as we commoditize, this AI, it's time to take advantage of it.
Right.
And our progress in society has been exponential. And if you don't take advantage of it, you're going to be the end up as the old guy shaking his hands at the cloud, and then thinking the world has left you behind. But there was always an opportunity for you to get on the train, and that train is right now, right? It's on the
Right.
platform. It's time to get on it.
No, I do agree with that because I look at AI on your perspective, and there are so many things that I'm able to do now that I would have need
Yeah,
to hire an assistant if I was going to be
yeah,
able to handle so much responsibilities like that. But just having all these tools and training them and telling them what to do, they kind of pick up that slack and make you work more effectively and efficiently as possible as you can. So
yeah.
we are at our final leg here, and my last question for you is, what would be your advice to somebody on the other side here on how to better prepare themselves for the world of AI?
Be interested, be positive, use all the AI models, download the AI model, use it on your system, make some API calls, use it for your graphics, use it for your video. Uh, Keep an as open mind as possible and use it. Don't think in terms of negatives. Of course, it comes with a lot of negatives,
Mhm.
but think of the positive as well. I grew up in a generation where there were protests on the street because people were protesting against computers coming in because they're going to take a lot of your jobs.
Mhm.
And to think of it, look back, that was is ridiculous, right? I mean, a lot of the jobs were lost to computers, and more there was, as it stands right now, computers revolutionized the society much more than AI has,
Mhm.
and we have done well, and we have done considerably well. Humanity has progressed considerably well due to computers, and we're going to progress considerably well due to AI as well. So it's a positive mindset, just ride the wave.
Thank you, Ganesh. So, how do people get to know AILO, or what is it that you're working on next?
Our main, like what we are working on is HAL Zero, which is a hallucination free, AI that is going to power AIHello as well as, our own it's like an email assistant that
Mhm.
drafts replies for you, that can record meetings for you. It's just like the fixer note taker that we just saw right now.
Mhm.
And that can, build a considerable, amount of data based on your knowledge, and then can, talk about you for the emails and everything. We're very excited to release it. We're getting close to the touch line. And once we're done, you should be able to have a kind of a hallucination free, AI model that you can talk about your own data. So you can ask it, when did I last go to, P of Chang's, in summer, and then it'll able to look up and then tell you when you went to that. It won't hallucinate because it knows exactly when you went.
Right.
So this is the kind of AI model that we're happy to build. Nothing to do with transformers. It's completely separately different.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. I don't know about you guys, but I think there's a lot of potential that's to be tapped into the future of AI.
Yeah.
And if you get ready for it, you prepare yourself as necessarily as possible. I don't think that you can transform your life and create wealth for yourself like never before. But if you get on the train on time and you'll stop being pessimistic, but rather optimistic of what could be possible with guided principles, obviously, and doing what exactly it is that aligns with your values. I believe there's a lot to be made, there's a lot to be done, and don't slack behind, just do the best you can and use it for the best. And if you're ever Yeah, and you want to reach out for anything or testimonial or whatever, reach out to us at proverbialminds@gmail.com and check Ganesh product. He's also on LinkedIn or their website to see what is it they got going on next. And until the next one, guys, peace out and stay blessed.